You already know the headlines: the sex trafficking, racketeering lawsuit, and explosive claims from Cassie and shell-shocked ex-employees.
Savage! I'm a savage! Oh!
Civil suits against Sean Diddy Combs are also stacking up like unpaid invoices.
Now, when you get niggas from the street that need that job, they're gonna allow him to do whatever he wanna do. Cause he can fire them in a minute, and the only job they will be getting, they won't be in the music industry.
But today's video steps out of the courthouse and into a far darker corridor, one lined with sudden deaths, drive-by bullets, and whispered confessions. For 3 decades, friends, rivals, and even lovers in Diddy's orbit have wound up injured, terrified, or dead.
Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died.
So we're asking the question nobody is paying attention to. Is Diddy cursed by coincidence, or a mastermind who's been engineering violence from behind the scenes and walking away, avoiding consequences? To be clear, none of the murders and attempted murders you're about to hear about have resulted in criminal charges against Combs. Yet the pattern is impossible to ignore, and eyewitness accounts keep sharpening the rumor into something more plausible. In today's video, we lay out every incident, 8 bodies, countless bullet holes, and probe the psychology of power, paranoia, and control that surrounds Sean Diddy Combs. Decide for yourself whether coincidence explains it all, or whether a darker orchestration has been hiding in plain sight. December 28, 1991, Sean Combs was a 22-year-old up-and-comer helping organize a celebrity charity basketball game at the City College of New York. The event, co-promoted with rapper Heavy D, was massively over capacity.
People was already crowded out there and it was crazy. So I finagled my way in there, me and Slick and them. I said, yo, I told Puff right then and there, I said, Puff, if they don't do a boxing one outside and get these kids off the door, somebody gonna die tonight. He said, Gene, don't worry about that.
City College was a deep experience for me. I was there, I was on the floor, I watched people take their last breath, regurgitate, and die.
As the party promoter, Combs quickly came under scrutiny. Victims' families alleged gross negligence, that Combs and Heavy D had oversold tickets, failed to hire adequate security, then took the money, ran downstairs, and shut the door, effectively trapping the crowd. Combs.
So Diddy been, he been snatching money. That's crazy work. So Diddy was 22 years old and basically, you know, came up for being a party promoter. I ain't had no idea that that's how he came up. A lot of these rappers and stuff, I heard they come from dancing backgrounds, you know what I'm saying, back in the 90s and 80s and things like that. If y'all a little older, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Was never criminally charged for the incident, but multiple civil wrongful death lawsuits ensued.
You don't cut security to save $1. You don't cut security when security is the most important thing that you gotta have at these places.
Right.
And that's what he did. He didn't listen. And what happened? 9 people died that night. I'm pumping on the chest.
9 people? I'm gonna have to look up that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody get in the comment and tell me if y'all know about this city, what it was, City Hall or something like that. But yeah, watch the video with me, you know what I'm saying? Go back on it and we'll figure it out together, you feel me? But yeah, tap in on the comments, let me know what's up with these 9 bodies or 8 bodies.
It's a little 17-year-old boy. How would you feel?
Right.
Combs never apologized publicly to the families and seemingly moved on, emboldened by having dodged serious consequences. The City College stampede would later be seen as the first in a series of violent acts surrounding Combs that defined his rise. In the early 1990s, Combs was a hungry intern-turned-talent director at Uptown Records. Working under founder Andre Harrell, Combs was ambitious and aggressive. In 1993, that drive led to a clash of egos. Andre fired Combs from Uptown, later saying, "There can't be 2 kings in one castle."
When I fired him, it was like I had an artist in the building, right? Because Puff, as an executive, he really is a very artistic guy. He can make videos, he can style. So I started to branch out in the movies and the television. So then Puff wouldn't really listen to anybody but me. So my full-time job became managing Puff. And I was doing other things. So even when I let Puff go, for the whole time he was let go, he was always on payroll. I never stopped paying him until he found his next spot. His artists were always still getting per diem. But I didn't do it to hurt him, but I knew it was time for him to grow. And the only way he could grow was if he was gonna have the same kind of corporate conversations that I was subjected to.
Right. Being cut loose proved momentous. Within months, Combs founded Bad Boy Records, instantly changing the hip-hop landscape. Combs began assembling a roster of talent. Among his first signees were a streetwise Brooklyn rapper named Christopher Wallace, the notorious B.I.G., and a promising Long Island MC, Craig Mack. Bad Boy's early success cemented Combs' reputation as a hitmaker.
Name you're a bad boy, I don't want to go against the grain. Anytime you go against the grain, you can see it kind of bad. I don't want to be regular. I want to be...
Yes, now, man, watching some of these older videos or just looking at the younger, Diddy, man, it's like, yeah, I see it now. You know what I'm saying? Not knocking you for your sexuality or what you like, but I see it. You know what I mean? Look at this dude.
Make records, I don't want to just make money. I want to make history.
By 1995, Bad Boy Records was on top, propelled by Biggie's success. Craig Mack, whose platinum single had helped put Bad Boy on the map, was noticeably absent from the victory lap.
The king of the year is Craig in the year, Craig Mack. Craig Mack! He's
Behind the scenes, Mack was desperate to escape Combs' influence.
Puff didn't like him for whatever reason he didn't. He told Craig, yo, if you don't fire your manager, then you can't work for Bad Boy.
Craig said, yo, listen here, man, I'm not changing my managers because you want to. Because Craig wanted his money for his music. Puff said, yo, I don't want that kid no more. Not at all. I was right there when he said that.
Decades later, it emerged that Craig Mack himself harbored dark stories. In a 2018 interview unearthed after his death, Mack described a dispute with an unnamed music executive that turned threatening.
Yo, you owe us an album. And I'm like, excuse my French, but I don't owe you owe me money. You know what I'm saying? So if you can come up with the rest of the dough, then we can come up with the rest of the album.
Right.
No dough, no records. That's it. I don't think you know what you mean when you're saying that, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what type of dude I am. You know what kind of muscle I got. You know what I'm saying? Right now, you need to be in the studio. So I said, all right, meet me up there at 7 o'clock. And I went and got one of my gunmen. My man, I'm not gonna mention his name either. He came with me up there. Okay, and they saw him and they fell back because they was gonna do something to me.
Craig Mack never publicly named the individual who threatened him. But given the timeline, his acrimonious Bad Boy exit, many fans and insiders suspected he was alluding to Combs. Mack's story, while not proven to involve Combs in any violence, set the tone for what was about to happen next. November 30th, 1994, a shocking act of violence further entangled Combs' world. Rising rap star Tupac Shakur arrived at Manhattan's Quad Recording Studios, a Bad Boy-affiliated studio, to record with a friend of Biggie's. As Tupac entered the lobby, gunmen ambushed him, shooting him multiple times.
The people who knew what was going to happen to Pac was in the part of the Quad studio with Jimmy Hitchman, and that was Andre Harrell and Puff. So Puff knew.
Tupac survived the attack, but the aftermath would alter hip-hop history.
I have proof, things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it ain't happening, that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody.
In the wake of Tupac's accusations, lines were drawn. Bad Boy, Combs and Biggie, representing the East, and Death Row, Knight and Tupac, representing the West. The feud became intensely personal. Tupac began taunting and threatening Biggie and Combs in songs and interviews. Combs and Biggie, for their part, felt under siege. By late 1995, both sides were surrounded by armed entourage members and muscle, and the atmosphere was ominous. As the feud gained momentum, violence was not confined to lyrics. On September 23, 1995, a pivotal and deadly confrontation occurred far from New York or Los Angeles. In Atlanta, at an after-party hosted by producer Jermaine Dupri. Both Combs and Suge Knight happened to attend with their crews that night. A volatile mix.
Jermaine Dupri hit security, Puff with Wolf. And Jake looks in and see these guys. Suge came back. He came right in and slapped the out of Jermaine Dupri. And Puff was standing right there, and he snatched Puff with one hand. Suge had him with one hand and was shaking him. They walked to the limo.
Hey, man. Suge must not been nobody to play with, bruh. Cause every time you hear any type of story on him, he messing some up. You know what I'm saying? He yoking you up, he snapping you up. He doing all types of stuff to you, you know what I'm saying? Like on some real life, you know what I'm saying? Bully type stuff. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, he wasn't playing. He was extorting like a mug, man. He was extorting these folks.
All of a sudden, somebody started shooting across the street. I could see the dude just busting. Pop, 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 pop. They called the play for the overlay. They started shooting across the street to make everybody look. We looked. The dude came out of nowhere and just touched Jake.
The murder of Big Jake poured gasoline on the East-West fire. Investigators later called it the primary catalyst for a bi-coastal feud between Combs and Knight. Suge Knight was convinced that Combs had effectively put a hit on his friend. At Big Jake's funeral, Knight openly blamed Bad Boy for the tragedy, further entrenching the animosity. From this point on, any pretense of mere music industry rivalry was gone. It was war. 1 year later, on September 7th, 1996, Tupac Shakur was gunned down in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas, a brazen assassination that shook the world. Tupac's murder, coming after multiple public death threats traded between camps, immediately raised suspicions. Las Vegas police had few leads initially, but in the streets, rumors circulated that Sean Combs had quietly put a bounty on Tupac's head in revenge for all the trouble he caused.
That's the word.
It sounded like a rap conspiracy theory, until a man on the inside spoke up years later.
We'll wipe their ass out quick, you know, it's nothing.
Who brought up the amount of $1 million?
Shit, he did.
Puffy did?
Yeah.
Okay. Wasn't you?
No, it wasn't me. I'll shit. $1 million out there. Yeah, that ain't 50.
That must be Keefy. That must be Keefy. What is that name? Keefy D? That's the one that supposedly, you know what I'm saying, got away with Pop. You know what I'm saying? I think his name was Keefy D.
You know what I'm saying? Shit,
So he brought up the $1 million.
Yeah.
When he looks over at you, and then Tupac's busy getting shot, and that story is Tupac's trying to either get out
in the backseat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside of their car?
I seen a bully throwing Suge again. I thought he was dead.
So Orlando shot the car across Dre.
He leaned over and he went to go down the window, popped. They was over on my side, I was popped. You know what I'm saying? But they was on the other side. Right.
In 2018, retired LAPD detective Greg Kading, who had led a task force on the Biggie and Tupac cases, went on record supporting Keefy D's account.
So immediately in the aftermath, Diddy hears about the shooting, finds out that there's, then Tupac's been shot, he's in the hospital, and according to Keefy D, gets a phone call. He's actually with Zip, the intermediary, and they're back in LA, and Zip takes a phone call, and it's Puffy on the other end of the line, hands the phone to Keefy D, and Keefy D, I'm sorry, Puffy asks him, is that us? So, what just happened out there? Keefy D's like, yeah, it's us.
However, when Keefy D's claims finally became public in a Las Vegas grand jury proceeding in 2023, they reignited the conversation. Combs was not charged or named in that indictment. Only Keefy D was charged as an accomplice to murder. Yet the implication was clear. For those predisposed to believe Combs harbored a deadly streak, here was a first-hand witness tying him to the most infamous rap killing in history. Less than 6 months after Tupac's death, tragedy struck Combs' own inner circle. On March 9, 1997, Christopher Wallace, aka the Notorious B.I.G., was murdered in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles, apparently more lax than Combs's. Could Combs have done more to discourage Biggie from coming to LA at all, given the known risks? Those doubts linger quietly, adding to the portrait of a man whom tragedy seems to follow. Or, as cynics would argue, a man who somehow always sidesteps the worst of it. By the end of the 1990s, Sean Puffy Combs was at the pinnacle of fame. A Grammy-winning artist himself, a wealthy entrepreneur, and an A-list celebrity dating actress or singer, Jennifer Lopez. But violence would visit Combs' orbit yet again on December 27, 1999, inside Club New York. This time placing Combs directly in the eye of a criminal investigation. On that night, Combs and Jennifer Lopez were VIP guests at the Manhattan nightclub, joined by Combs' newest protege, a 21-year-old rapper from Brooklyn named Jamal Shine Barrow. In the early hours, an altercation broke out when another club-goer allegedly made a derogatory comment toward Combs. Words were exchanged, and suddenly Shine pulled out a gun and began firing into the crowded club, purportedly to defend his mentor's honor. 3 bystanders were struck by bullets and wounded. Pandemonium erupted as people ducked for cover, and Combs, Lopez, and their entourage sprinted out of the club. They fled in Combs' SUV, but after a short high-speed chase, police pulled them over. Prosecutors charged Shine with multiple counts of assault and attempted murder, and charged Combs with gun possession and bribery.
He should have known better than to pull out that gun in the club and start shooting. He should have known better. Puff had enough security there, and that night, Wolf, his people, and a couple security guards, if they needed to do that, let them take care of that. So he had to take responsibility for his own action, which I think he's done. Did Puff ruin his life? Yeah, because Puff helped the prosecutor put Shine behind bars by getting the witnesses and giving them to the prosecutor so Shine could have that fall.
I was defending him, and he turned around and called witnesses to testify against me, and he pretty much sent me to prison. That is the context by which you must always describe that relationship. Yes, I forgave, I moved on, but let us not pretend as if I was in Miami for Thanksgiving. This is someone.
So, hold on, man. It took me a while to hit the pause button. So, Diddy, he had the main reason for Shine going to jail because of him. He snitched. He brought the lawyers up there. That's crazy work. So Diddy, you know what I'm saying? He been on some other type stuff.
And who destroyed my life.
In June 2001, Shine was convicted on multiple counts of assault, reckless endangerment, and gun possession, though he was cleared of attempted murder. The judge sentenced Shine to 10 years in prison. Combs walked out of court a free man, emotionally thanking God and proclaiming his innocence, while his young artist went off to serve a decade behind bars for the violence committed that night.
All right.
After the turbulent late 90s and early 2000s, Combs managed to avoid public violence for a long stretch. He expanded his business empire and settled into life as a family man and hip-hop elder statesman. But in November 2018, a personal tragedy struck that once again put Combs at the center of dark speculation. Kim Porter, Combs' longtime former partner and the mother of 3 of his children, was found dead at her Los Angeles home. Porter was only 47 and had been in apparent good health. The coroner's official report ruled her death as lobar pneumonia, stating she had been suffering flu-like symptoms for days. To the world, it seemed a tragic natural death, yet almost immediately, whispers arose, questioning if there was more to the story.
He said, yo, get out the car, Barnes, and I got out the car. And next thing I knew, I seen the car rumbling, shaking. I opened up the door and said, yo, we in front of the Beverly Hills Hotel. So then Kim got out the car, she fixed her hair, and she said, I want to explain. Put your hands on me again, and you're going to have to explain this scratch that I'm about to put on your face. And Kim got to the point where she wasn't going for it. She wasn't having it. She knew that if she at least fought back, that it was a chance that she could leave a mark on him. And if she left a mark on him, he had a lot of explaining to do of what that mark was about.
Insecurities. Anytime a man would go out his way to wiretap someone's phone or put taps in their homes just to monitor their conversation, that's a sign of insanity. So when you see someone doing that, what do you think he's going to do if he found her on the phone talking to someone and feels that she's cheating on him or somebody sleeping with his girl? What you think he's going to say? Ooh, I caught you. Ooh, I heard this. Nah, he's going to come in with the, it's going to...
I was saying, what you going to say? Ooh, nah, it's going to go deep with him because we know it's going to go deep with Diddy, man. All these 8 bodies, I think 8 or 9 bodies that, you know what I'm saying, Diddy was involved with, had something to do with, or allegedly had something to do with. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let y'all drop in the comments what y'all think, dude. You know what I'm saying? If he got something to do with all these, or he don't.
It'd be a fight.
Allegedly, Kim was fine the day before and the day of her death, and then now she found in the bed dead from pneumonia. That just don't sound right, bro. That don't sound right at all. I don't think nobody in America thinks there's nothing suspicious about Kim's death, bro. If you are rich like that, Kim had a net worth of like, what, 12 million a year or something like that? Kim could have called any doctor to come over and look at her. Everything is suspicious about her death, bro. And I don't think an autopsy was done on her. And if it was a half-assed job. What I really believe is that they might got into a little spat, a little fight, something went down, and Puff did that play fighting stuff that he always do, and that pillow fighting stuff, and probably smothered her.
Porter died just days before she reported.
Time out. Play fighting with a pillow and smothered her. How you don't know when it's time, bro?
Lee planned to share detailed information with a biographer about her life with Combs. Unverified reports claimed she had a laptop or flash drive filled with stories. Was she perhaps writing a tell-all book?
She did.
Kim Porter joins a list of people once close to Combs who died shockingly or under unusual circumstances. She was also, notably, someone who knew Combs' secrets, personal and professional. In May 2020, music executive Andre Harrell, the very man who had given Combs his start and fired him at Uptown Records, died suddenly of heart failure at age 59. Harrell's passing, from all official accounts, was due to natural causes. He had a history of heart problems, and there was no indication of anything nefarious. Far more pointed were the events that befell Al B. Sure, the R&B singer who had been raising questions about Kim Porter's death. In 2022, Al B. Sure was working on a documentary project tentatively titled Surviving Diddy, or according to some reports, contributing to the Peacock documentary Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy. Then, in the summer of 2022, Al B. Sure suddenly fell gravely ill. He slipped into a 2-month coma due to unspecified organ failure, nearly dying before he finally recovered.
He fell into a coma. Well, he had a catastrophic medical emergency, but he is back.
There was so many things going on to the point where they were considering sending me to hospice. And what people don't truly understand unless you've been through this type of medical journey is taking for granted breathing, tying your shoes, speaking.
He claimed that there had been a sophisticated PR campaign to shut him down, and a bounty on his head for speaking out.
And Al B. Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma.
He directly suggested that Combs or his affiliates were responsible for his medical emergency, implying he may have been poisoned or harmed to keep him quiet. It's a dramatic claim, and to be clear, there is no hard evidence disclosed to support the idea that Combs had anything to do with Al B. Sure's medical episode.
Hey Keith, Metro Police, come over here. Hey man.
We are here today to announce the arrest of 60-year-old Dwayne Keith Davis, aka Keefy D, for the murder of Tupac Shakur.
I'm innocent. I ain't killed nobody.
In a twist of fate, the The long-dormant Tupac Shakur murder case roared back to life in 2023, and at the center of it is Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, the same man who decades earlier pointed the finger at Combs. Las Vegas police, armed with new evidence and Keefe D's own myriad confessions over the years, finally arrested Keefe D and charged him with Tupac's murder. As of 2025, Keefe D stands indicted and has pleaded not guilty. He is the only living suspect among the 4 men believed to be in the car that night in 1996. This development has once again shone a spotlight on the alleged Combs connection.
1996 is 2025. Boy, that been some years, some decades, boy. That mean that they done dug and got some people to say, well, Keefe D told on himself if he did do it. He you know what I'm saying? Everybody know he testified on himself and stuff like this, things like that. So it's just, you know, it is what it is. Keefe, you might as well just go on ahead and hang it on up anyway, man. You made a statement yourself. Now you want to go back on it? I don't know, man.
In the court filings accompanying Keefe D's indictment, police explicitly referenced his past interviews about Combs, including the claim that Combs offered anything for Knight's head and the $1 million bounty story. Keefe D's impending trial raises 2 tantalizing possibilities. Will he testify in open court about Combs' alleged role in Tupac's murder? And if so, will this lead to any formal investigation of Combs at long last for those events? It's too early to tell, but for the first time, one of the central figures in this violent history is facing a jury. A man who believes he is untouchable might take ever greater risks to maintain his throne. In conclusion, the portrait that emerges is of a man who built a shiny public empire, but who in the shadows may have thrived in intimidation, deception, and perhaps worse. Across the years, Combs has projected the mantra, "bad boy for life," an almost prophetic slogan given the trail of bad situations orbiting his life. The allegations detailed here remain unproven, but there is no smoking gun tying Sean Diddy Combs to murder or deliberate malice in a court of law. Yet the pattern, the college stampede, the feared executive, the studio ambush, the nightclub shooting, the sudden deaths, the eerie warnings, forms a narrative arc too dramatic for any fiction. It's the story of a man who rose to power amid violence and who, rightfully or wrongfully, has been suspected of harboring a darker potential for criminal behavior just beneath his charismatic surface. If you've enjoyed this coverage, please like, share, and subscribe, and join our growing community of true crime lovers. Thank you for watching.
Really? Yeah, man, that's crazy, man. How Diddy was, allegedly involved in all of this. You know what I'm saying? All these, bad situations that happened. You feel me? I don't know. I'm gonna let y'all, drop something in the comment, man. Let me know what y'all think about it. What you think about the video? Like, comment, and subscribe to your boy Jackpot's reaction. You feel me? Make sure you come back and watch some more videos with me. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. And until next time, in the next video, I'm out.